here.
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Jedi who uses a lady's razor as a phone's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the SH Figuarts Qui-Gon Jinn. I have a lot more Star Wars stuff coming. I'm pretty excited, but before we get to that stuff, we got to get to this guy, and in order to get to this guy, we got to take a look at accessories. So, of course, he comes with a wide array of hands, all nice choices, to be honest. We have two holding hands that are kind of circular for more of the straight hold of the lightsaber, like the fist hold. And then we have two more relaxed hands for our lightsaber. I like having this option. It has a little bit more style to it. I dig that. Like, it has, like, the angle for the hilt so that the blade comes off at that angle. I dig that a lot. Then we have, like, two force push hands. And then two, Jedi mind trick hands, for lack of a better term. He also comes with his lightsaber, accurate to the film. We got silver paint on the hilt. We have the red button there, and I gotta say it, I still think the way to do a lightsaber is a white rod down the center with the green translucent over top. Still how I think they should be doing it. Still nobody's doing it that way, so still I'm gonna say it. The good news is, he holds it just fine in the closed fist hand, and he holds it just fine in the relaxed gripping hand. He also has a lightsaber hilt, just the hilt, with some silver paint on there and red paint on, same accents and whatnot. And of course it does plug onto the belt, as illustrated. He also comes with one additional head sculpt, which I do find to be bizarre. It's from when he takes the lightsaber to the gut, and it's just a strange choice. I mean, I get it, so you can play out that one scene, but it just seems so specific. I don't know. I'm not sure if this was the right choice. The detailings on this are done well, though. Everything is clean. All the eye paint, as you can see, the mouth, the teeth inside are painted. The digital paint looks good and so forth. It's all shaded and whatnot. The hair is that kind of metallic hair with a heavy brown wash. And then we'll talk about the detailings on the other face when we get to it. I just want to go on record in saying I think this is... if I had to choose a second face, I'm not sure it would be this emotion that I would choose. Now let's talk about the figure. So this head sculpt is much better, much more kind of stoic and maybe focused in terms of its direction. I will say, I gotta say a couple things. First of all, look, it's good, okay? But it's not perfect. There's something funky going on in the brow section between the eyes. It's not enough to bother you, really, and it's not enough to not recommend the figure, but it is something that is slightly off there to me. Otherwise, though, I think they did a great job. I think the paint is fantastic. We have the kind of metallic paint. I know people hate that. I tend to like it. I think it gives a nice sheen in the hair. And then the wash is over top. It all looks good. And then the face is all painted well with the digital paint. Like, the paint is applied really well. We've seen some touch and go stuff with that recently, but this is done really well. The hair is a softer plastic. You just take this apart to apply the other face on. I think they did a really good job there. We'll back out. We'll look at the rest of the figure. All right, so now we're a little less intimate. So the head is on a double ball peg, and then the neck is on might be a double. I think it might be a single, but it's sitting loose inside of there, so the neck and chest piece are all sculpted together, which causes a pretty seamless sculpt, and the range of motion is incredible. Amazing. Really well done, really well executed, and you can get a little, oh no you didn't, out of that. And that all works well. For the torso here, we have a different shade of paint here, and then this is another piece sitting on top. And then this, I'm guessing, I think it might be this darker shade of brown closer to the neck that's actually painted. Double ball peg from the torso into the abdomen, that works extremely well, and you get the swivel there. Uh-oh. Well, at least you can see the double ball peg now. And you can see a little bit inside the guts here. And that's interesting because we haven't had a chance to do that. So that's on a hinge as well inside of there. So it's like a ball joint, a double ball peg from the pelvis into this, and then this sits on its own separate hinge. Which is good if I can get it back together. All right. So that's a bit of a bummer that it came apart. We had this with Kylo too. It kept coming apart. And now I'm like, is this thing on right? Yes, it's on right. Okay, so speaking of this is a floating piece, as we just saw. And the middle belt is painted. The silver buckles are painted. All the pouches are painted brown. And then the buckles, the little buttons and doodads and whatnot are painted on top of that. So that all works well. No issues there. The arms, they're on a ball hinge that goes into a ball peg inside the shoulder, so you can get across the chest, not much, but you can get to there and back to there. You get the arm all the way up and around, so no issues there. You have a huge bicep swivel. It's at the shoulder, and it's a little tight, and honestly, you don't really need it, but it is there. And then you have all the sculpted fabric. All this is digitally sculpted with all these textures inside of it. And then the elbow does slide inside of the bicep. Same thing we've seen with Mace Windu and the others. You have to be a little careful, because sometimes if you don't have this angle just right, because that's another ball peg going from this ball hinge in the elbow up into the bicep, it can sit a little off, and you won't be able to straighten out the arm. Just adjust it and close it out, no problem. All right, moving forward, we have a ball hinge for the wrist that swivels on both ends, so you get the hinge in, out, or up, down, depending on how you have it swiveled. And 2 fist hands. Nothing really remarkable to report other than that. All right, moving down, we have this softer piece, just hanging down to kind of add for accents to the figure. Works well. And then we have the pants, which are all sculpted well, but no extra detail there. We have drop-down T-jointed ball joints for hips. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but if you look up inside his nether regions, there's up, there's down. Using the down feature, you get the legs all the way out to there, even with these softer plastics, and then up to there. So a pretty great range, given what it is. You have a swivel around the ball joint inside of the thigh, so that gets you your thigh swivel. And then you have a ball hinge for the knee, which gets you past 90 degrees. All that works well. And then we have the boots, which she's getting way too big for. That's a British reference. Don't worry about it. That does have a shading on it that I can see. They're sculpted to the 9s. And then I think we have a double ball peg going from the calf into the foot, which gets you an ankle tilt up to there, so that's great. Down to there, which isn't bad, but you don't really need it. And an ankle rocker that's okay. And then you have a toe hinge that gets you all the way to there. It's cut a little far up the foot, so that looks a little goofy, but it is there, and I think you get away with it for pictures and such. I don't think anybody will be any the wiser. So that's pretty much him in a nutshell. A really well done, well executed figure overall. There's the back of him, and I think that it's one of their upper tier efforts, to be quite honest. A lot going on, a lot of attention to detail, and a pretty efficient use of engineering. Size comparison-wise, there he is with the Episode 1 Obi-Wan Kenobi from SH Figuarts, and for good measure, the Darth Maul from SH Figuarts. So I think he scales perfectly. And there he is with the Hasbro, and he pretty much blows the Hasbro out of the water in every category possible, which he should. That's not, some people take that as an attack on Hasbro. No. That's just Figuarts doing the right thing. The figure is far more expensive, so therefore it should blow the figure out of the water. If it doesn't, that's not to say that the Hasbro is doing any better, it's to say that the Figuarts is doing worse. So when I say stuff like that, that's what I'm talking about. But in this specific set of circumstances, there's a lot of S sounds, I'll have you know. He efficiently and effectively does every task better than the Hasbro version, which he should and which he's supposed to, and therefore I'm saying bravo. Final thoughts wise, my only complaints are that I feel like the head sculpt is slightly off, and that's a nitpick. Be clear, that's a nitpick. And I feel like this is another example of something that's a Tamashii Nations exclusive that shouldn't be an exclusive. I keep sounding like a broken record with that. I feel like the SH Figuarts, the Tamashii Nations line, is what we need for our face reveal characters. We can kind of fill in where we need with the Black Series on the masked characters, but we keep getting the masked characters at mass retail on the Tamashii Nations side, and then the face characters, which is the ones that we really need, on the exclusive side. This is the third one in a row. This one, Anakin and Padme. And then we got the droids for a mass retail release. So I feel like they need to, I don't know, who am I to tell them how to do business? Bandai's been around forever, but you know what I mean. Positives-wise, everything. Sculpt, with the exception of something going on in that eyebrow section. Paint, engineering, presence, accessories, everything is an absolute knockout. Pretty close to a perfect figure. I strongly recommend it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care. All right, real quick, because I'm supposed to be on a podcast in an hour, and I still have to eat dinner. But I've been losing weight, if you've noticed. No big deal. Don't worry about it. When episode 1 was getting ready to come out, there may have been someone more excited about it than I was, but not many. One of those people may have been one of my closest friends, a fella named Mario. He passed away in 2010, and it was a huge loss for me and all my friends that kind of grew up together. Anyway, he was a huge Star Wars fan as well. We planned on camping out the night before the tickets went on sale for episode 1, and we brought, a pillow and stuff like that. We were going to camp out and make a big deal out of it. We were sitting in line. We were about 30th in line. We got sick of it in about 8 minutes. So we decided this was not for us. So we went up to the front 2 people in line, struck up a conversation, talked a little EU talk so they knew we weren't just casual fans, that we weren't culture vultures, that we were really of the culture. And we told them, look, how would you guys like to make $40? I'm pretty sure it was $40. 20 from me and 20 from Mario. And we had a group of guys going, 30 guys. So we were like, how would you guys like to make $40? They were like, well, we'd love to make $40. They were young people. I was like, oh, you'd love it. Well, we would kick in $40 to you if you would allow us tomorrow morning to come back and get in line ahead of you at about 20 minutes till showtime in terms of the ticket sales. It was still like 2 weeks away from actual showtime. And they said, sure, absolutely, $40 sounds great to pay for our tickets. We're like, okay, incredible, incredible. And we walked away slowly. We didn't say a word. We got in the car. We looked at each other, and we both said simultaneously, suckers. We would have both probably paid about $100 a piece. Shout out to those 2 guys if you're watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.